Hey guys, check it out. You're watching Jonathan Clarke on YouTube. Oh no! Hello once again, ladies and gentlemen. I'm your host, Jonathan Clarke. So honored to have been your voice of Descendants and Zombies this past summer and to have covered the Worlds Collide Tour, which was a dream that came true for everybody. Being a part of this was really a miraculous feeling for a lot of people. They couldn't believe it. And I really can't believe that this YouTube channel has seen the support and the love, the outpouring of love and support that I have received over the past 3 months. This has been the greatest summer of my life. 2025 summer will be a summer that I will never ever forget because of the Worlds Collide Tour and each and every one of you. People are subscribing throughout the day. People are subscribing overnight. This is insane how much people love this YouTube channel. Thank you so much for all the love and support you have continuously shown this YouTube channel. So the question remains in the follow of the Worlds Collide Tour, where do we go from here? Well, that presents the opportunity for a lot of conversation about Descendants 5, Wicked Wonderland, Leg 2 of the Worlds Collide Tour, heading overseas in UK, Germany, Australia. Really excited about this because of the global market seeing expansion for Disney and people like Kylie Cantrell and Freya Sky getting the exposure they deserve. I will fully support this as they head overseas for Leg 2 of the Worlds Collide Tour. Now, the rumors are suggesting that Leg 2 of the Worlds Collide Tour will not happen until the lateral part of 2026, so we've got a while to wait before that premieres. And we've got Descendants 5 Wicked Wonderland coming up this summer. So as we edge ever closer to the premiere date of Descendants 5 Wicked Wonderland, that presents an opportunity to create a lot of conversation on forums, between fans of Descendants and Zombies on social media. And I, for one, have been really intrigued by the predictions that people have been making about Descendants 5 Wicked Wonderland. You know, who is going to be the villain is one of the biggest questions perhaps that has resonated from the fallout of the Rise of Red, because one can't expect to mess with the fabric of time and not expect consequences. Those were very haunting words from Uma. And those words have never been more true than ever before, because really, you can't expect to mess with the fabric of time and not expect consequences. Why, you may ask? Because time always runs out, and that's the most precious commodity about life, is that we only have so much time, and we've got to really make every moment that we have in this lifetime really matter and really count. So I think that Descendants' message has been a very profound one for at least the last 10 years. Now, while the other Descendants movies of the franchise didn't focus on the concept of time travel and altering it, I think that this really puts into perspective just how valuable time truly is. The true words of the Mad Hatter saying that you can't expect to mess with the fabric of time and not expect consequences. So that will be revealed by Descendants 5 Wicked Wonderland's time to reveal its plot. And I am really excited to see where we go from here. Of course, we can expect to see Red have a sister for the very first time ever. That will present a lot of conflict. And I, for one, am very intrigued by this plot because we've never seen a Descendants girl have a sister before or a sibling quarrel be derived from anything that's happened in present-day Wonderland. So with the focus being on present-day Wonderland from the fallout of all the consequences of time travel, I'm really excited about this. I'm also really excited to see if we'll see some conflict presented between Red and Chloe for the first time ever, because the focus of the first movie was on their friendship and how this strong bond that they had developed really stood the test of time, how they had to help each other out of every situation they were faced with, how they encountered so many supernatural beings. There's so much of an opportunity to create beautiful storylines with Descendants and Zombies, and for those of you who have never been introduced to this franchise for the first time ever, this is an incredible opportunity for you. I think there's never been a time more significant in Descendants history to become a fan of Descendants and Zombies, and I'm really intrigued by this plot, because I have forever and always left the door open for new characters to see their introduction into the Descendants franchise. I have been forever campaigning to see characters like the daughter or son of Hercules or the daughter or the son of the Little Mermaid seeing their introduction into this franchise. If you could open up the door for mermaids to be involved with the Zombies franchise, and now this being the topic of the conversation for seemingly forever, then you can too open up the door for the conversation to be revolving around mermaids for Descendants. Because the thing is, this is a fantasy, and I've been a fan of fantasies for forever. I've been a big fan of the video game Final Fantasy for forever, and you can hear me quoting Cloud on this show a lot about how everybody has a light and everybody eventually finds their light. And I really believe that everybody eventually gets to a point in their lifetime where they discover the power of that light that's been hidden from them for forever. And I really do believe eventually Red and Chloe will find their light. I've often quoted Cloud on this show many times because I really do believe that everybody does have a light and they do eventually find it. And I really do look forward to Red and Chloe finding their true calling in Descendants 5 Wicked Wonderland. Now, I really do believe that Descendants is going to see a trilogy. I don't think that we're just going to stop at Descendants 5 with Wonderland. I know there are a lot of rumors about how people believe they need to stop making Descendants movies, and I really wanted to shy away from that. I really have. I really wanted to create a lot of conversation and a buzz, if you would, about Descendants 5 with Wonderland, because I really do believe we will get to a point where we'll see Descendants 6, especially with how Ruby Rose Turner was such a valuable asset to the Descendants franchise in The Rise of Red. I became the biggest fan and supporter in the world of Ruby Rose Turner after the character Bridget had debuted in this franchise, because ultimately Bridget became everybody's favorite character. Not just my favorite character, but she became everybody's favorite character. And I just want to put it out there that I will forever and always be supportive of Ruby Rose Turner. I will forever miss Ruby Rose Turner, because I think that never enough good things can be said about her for how genuinely kind she was. If anything, Ruby Rose Turner inspired me to be kinder to people and to really become a better person, and I like to believe that I turned my life around because of Ruby Rose Turner. Ever before she was a part of Descendants, I was a fan of her, and I remember when news first was announced that she was going to be joining the Descendants cast, and I was really intrigued. I was never more excited to see a premiere of a Disney character than I was for Bridget in Descendants, because it not only offered us an explanation as to why the Queen of Hearts turned out the way she did, it also showed us how much of a profound impact kindness can have on a person's life, how much of a profound impact bullying can affect somebody. She really put life into perspective, and she was just so genuinely kind. That was something I noticed about Ruby. She was so appreciative of every moment. When it came to PR for Descendants, she was always there to answer questions. She never shied away from any questions from the media, and she was the most friendly personality of the entire Descendants cast, which is why when news first broke that she was going to be parting ways with the franchise, she was going to be a part of the Worlds Collide tour, I was heartbroken. And I'll tell you why I was heartbroken, because going into the Worlds Collide tour, I was hoping she was going to be a part of it. I had seen some stage productions done for Descendants prior to that Ruby had been involved with, and I noticed the exuberance and the energy from Ruby's performance being at an all-time high. So I thought that, bringing these new characters in was a fabulous way to reintroduce us to a new franchise, like how Zombies was embarking on a new franchise now and having the torch passed from Milo Manheim and Meg Donnelly. But I also felt as if, the performances would have been at an all-time high with a more energetic, performance level with Ruby, because Ruby was just so appreciative of every moment. And there was just something about the character's voice of Bridget. There was just something about Ruby's voice being on that song, Life is Sweeter When You Are, that was really catchy. I remember when they were doing interviews about how they had filmed the scene for the Life is Sweeter When You Are music video, how they had emphasis on 13 different characters. But I remember how the director was quoted in saying that this was a song that was going to be instantly stuck inside of your head. And from the very first note of Life is Sweeter When You Are, I haven't been able to get that song out of my head. I can't lie to you guys. I've been playing that song every morning before I do a podcast on this show to really get myself in the mood for creating a video for you guys. I think there's just something about the music that really brings Descendants to life. I think you can't really do this production without music. There's just something about the power of music being behind this for forever and always. From the very first moment, I believe, that we heard the opening song Rotten to the Core from the very first Descendants movie, we knew this was going to be something special. I'll take you back to July 31st, 2015. From the very first note of Rotten to the Core, you knew this was going to be a musical that was going to captivate thousands of people. Now, I'll be honest with each and every one of you. I never thought Descendants was going to blow up the way that it did and had millions of people think it was so revered on social media. I remember the night of the first Descendants movie having so many reviews posted on Rotten Tomatoes and IMDb.com, and I remember being absolutely blown away by all the positive reviews it was receiving. Now, weeks later, a lot of criticism will be thrown the way of the Descendants cast, but I think they did a fabulous job really bringing this one to life. So we can't forget about the contributions of Dove Cameron and Sophia Carson, who took two characters who really had no backstory whatsoever, and they reintroduced us to a fabulous twist on a franchise that would be represented by VK kids and, of course, hero kids, and it was just so amazing how this franchise came to be so revered. I remember so many opportunities being extended to Dove Cameron and Sophia Carson to be on red carpet premieres for fashion shows, what have you, because of their fashion sense for Descendants, how fabulously of a job they were doing for PR. So many podcasts wanted to interview them, and they took full advantage of that. So I think that one should never forget the contributions of the previous cast. I know forever and always they will be missed, especially Cameron Boyce, God rest his soul. But the thing is, as the times change, we have to move on with the times. And I think that the new generation of Descendants fans who are going back now in time and reintroducing themselves to what the franchise meant to us 10 years ago, that's really cool. Because you're not only having respect shown for the new cast, but you're also having respect shown for the original cast members who really did a fabulous job bringing this one to life. I can never say enough good things about either the original cast or the new cast, and I have forever been an advocate to see both casts come together for one huge stage production or one huge movie. I would love to see this be a theatrical presentation for Disney, because if you can put Hannah Montana and High School Musical on the big screen over a decade and a half ago, over 15 years ago, premieres that I was in attendance for, and I remember how big this was, you can do the same thing for Descendants of Zombies, and it's beyond me why they restricted it to just being on Disney Plus and Disney Channel, because I really do believe that this is worthy of a theatrical presentation. If you can put so many animated classics like Frozen and so many different revered classics like Toy Story on the big screen time and time again, you can do the same thing for the franchise that has captivated millions of people. Because the reality of it is, we're looking at 781 million hours of stream time for Descendants on Disney Plus, 250 million hours plus for Zombies. Zombies Swore Dawn of the Vampires this past summer went to #1 within hours of its premiere. Now, it had a lot to do with the music and the very powerful script. I will admit to you that this was the best script that I had ever seen for a Zombies movie. It captivated me. I didn't want that 90-minute movie to end. I really didn't, because I believe that you just can't tell a story in 90 minutes and complete it. So for those of you who believe that we won't see Zombies 5, perhaps you should rethink that, because we will see Zombies 5. I mean, this is what it's setting up for. The passing of the torch was a moment of significance. It was a moment in time, because we were a part of history, and I think that this is really setting up for the times to change in Zombies, and I'm really excited about it, because everything has seemed to have found its way into the conversation when it comes to zombies. Now, everything from mermaids to pirates to witches have been suggested, and I, for one, am really intrigued by this, because we're going to see so much of a supernatural lore now examined for Zombies 5, and I've been a huge fan of supernatural TV shows for forever. As much as I tried to get into supernatural, I just couldn't, but, you know, TV shows like The Vampire Diaries and Twilight, I loved that era. I loved the vampire werewolf suggestions and how big of a fan everybody was of that kind of thing, and I would have loved, I don't know about you guys, but I would have loved to have seen Descendants of Zombies compete against Twilight and, of course, The Vampire Diaries, and to have been a part of that era when vampire and werewolf TV shows were really at an all-time high for popular reviews and what have you, because I just would have loved to have seen the reviews and you know, the competition factor kind of factor in and see how Descendants of Zombies would have fared in an era that was represented by, you know, teenage vampires and teenage werewolves and the story that revolved around it. I would forever love to have seen something like that done. But I really do appreciate how Disney, off the introduction of the Marvel multiverse stuff, came out with this Zombies franchise, and, you know, there were so many mixed reactions about it, and everybody was just wondering, you know, what kind of direction Disney was heading in, you know, coming out with this new franchise that was so unpredictable. And that was the thing about the Zombies franchise. You know, Descendants' plot was pretty obvious. We knew what was going to happen from one moment to the next. By Descendants 2, the story had attempted to get a little bit deeper, to offer us an analogy of what the characters were going to represent. I think that Evie really found her place in Auradon by Descendants 2. Of course, the Chillin' Like a Villain song had premiered, and that was when Sophia Carson really was noticed on the Billboard chart, because in 2017, Chillin' Like a Villain was in the top 100 Billboard hits of that year, because that was the song that really identified Sophia Carson to Descendants fans, and that's really what allowed her to jump out and achieve worldwide popularity. So by Descendants 2, not only Dove Cameron was seeing exposure, but Sophia Carson was, and now years later, because of the contributions of people like Sophia Carson, Kylie Control comes from out of nowhere with this song Red, which is a huge inspiration to millions of people, because I really do feel like Kylie Control is inspiring more Descendants fans to really stand up for what they believe in, achieve their dreams, pursue their dreams, what have you, because every Worlds Collide tour date opened up with the statement from Kylie Control that dreams can happen for everybody, which is something I really have always and forever supported on this show. For over 25 years, I've opened up every show with how a dream can happen for everybody, and it made me feel really honored that Kylie Control may have watched actually some of my videos that I've uploaded. It's really cool how 43 arena dates opened up with how a dream can happen for anybody, and that's when at that moment, that's when I noticed that Kylie Control was really into a performance, because a lot of people would never have been able to do that. Go out on stage for 43 arena dates and just have so much exuberance exemplified and be so proud to be in the moment with each and every one of you. But I can never seem to give enough praise to Freya Sky either. She is an amazing actress. I'm not taking anything away from anybody else on the Worlds Collide Tour by having a lot of the conversation revolve around Ruby Rose Turner, because this was really a collective effort. The performance of the Gold's Gone music video was amazing. On Vivo, I must have watched that 100 times after they collaborated it and threw it up on YouTube, and I can see why it's gotten over 500,000 subscribers for Freya Sky on her YouTube channel. She was just so excited to perform that song for each and every one of you every night on the stage at the Worlds Collide Tour. She was so tired after every performance, she was falling asleep on tour buses, and that's when I had an ultimate amount of respect for Freya Sky. I want to put it out there that I really do believe that Freya Sky is going to be the next Taylor Swift. I have to say that, because if you can have a conversation always revolving around the same 5 celebrities, be it Taylor Swift, Ariana Grande, Selena Gomez, Demi Lovato, who's coming back for the Camp Rock 3 reboot with Joe Jonas, I've got mixed opinions about that, but the thing is, I really do believe that the conversation is revolving around the same 4 or 5 singers all the time. Taylor Swift, Ariana Grande, of course, everybody can't stop talking about Wicked for Good this fall, with Ariana Grande coming back to reprise her role as Belinda the Good Witch. I think that the conversation is always revolving around the same 4 or 5 people all the time. So I think that we can never give enough praise to people like Kylie Cantrell and Malia Baker, who are doing a fabulous job bringing this Descendants franchise to life. Because many of the people who portrayed these characters like Mel and Evie have just pretty much forgotten about their role. They've forgotten about their past, and they don't even answer questions anymore about Descendants. I think Sophia Carson did one interview to commemorate the 10th anniversary of Descendants, and actually, I think she was the only original cast member that actually commemorated the 10th anniversary of Descendants. And that interview, I kid you not, was only 1 minute and 30 seconds. I think I showed a clip of it on this YouTube channel, and I was mind-blowed that she was the only original cast member that actually talked about it. Now, for sure, Cameron Boyce probably would have commemorated it if he would have been alive to have seen the 10th anniversary of Descendants, which, because of how valuable of an asset he was to the Descendants cast and how he really brought it to life, for sure he would have been a part of it. But I noticed that she was the only one of the original cast that actually said something about the 10th anniversary of Descendants, so I had a lot of respect for her for doing that, because you would have thought that Dove Cameron would have commemorated it, but for some reason Dove Cameron is trying to leave her Disney past behind her. Now, I know that has a lot to do with how Disney makes you feel like you're, living in a box. You can't really say or do what you want, but I think that Disney really has a professional image that they're trying to put these stars out there for having, and I have a lot of respect for Disney for doing that. I just think that there's way too much pressure on the shoulders of Kylie Cantrell and Freya Sky all the time, because, I mean, what do you know at 15 years old? I spoke on how when I was 15 years old, I was playing Metal Gear Solid 2 and Final Fantasy X on PlayStation 2. That was what I was doing with my life when I was 15 years old, and I was a podcast host. So I didn't really have a whole lot going for me. I was hosting a show at my parents' basement. I was playing Metal Gear Solid 2 and Final Fantasy X. They were big games on PlayStation 2 when I was 15 years old. So you don't really know a whole lot at 15. You don't really know where you're going, but the thing is, Freya Sky has each and every one of you, and that's what will get her through. And that's what I give you guys a profound amount of respect for, is that you've never quit on your favorite stars like Kylie Cantrell and Freya Sky, and you've really helped them make sense of their lives. You've really helped them get lost in a moment that they really want to last for forever. When Freya Sky spoke to you guys during that performance of Gold's Gone, I knew she was emotionally connected to each and every one of you. I never had to wonder about the future of Freya Sky, because I knew at that moment when she spoke to you guys that she was going to be the next Taylor Swift. I remember when I fell in love with Ariana Grande many moons ago for songs like Break Free and her EP that she had released about 10 and a half years ago, and I thought that she was going to be something special. I remembered watching her on Victorious, and I think the same logic can be applied to Freya Sky. She's got a long way to go, but that doesn't mean that she's not going to get there. I predict 10 years from now she's going to be the next Taylor Swift, and many of you are concurring with that opinion, because in a lot of Freya Sky music videos on YouTube, you're saying she's going to be the next Disney pop star. If you can make Selena Gomez and Demi Lovato into pop stars overnight, you can do the same thing for Freya Sky. And with 500,000 subscribers on YouTube, that really says a lot about a star. That's a star in the making. 500,000 subscribers in just one movie? That's insane. That's absolutely crazy. That's a statistic that really blows my mind. She's only been in one movie one character she's brought to life, Nova. So she's got the responsibility of carrying on the legacy of the Addison character, and of course Malachi Barton, of course, carrying on the legacy of the Zed character. This is going to be a whole lot of fun. Just one movie, 500,000 subscribers on YouTube. Everybody better look out, because Freya Sky is going to be something spectacular. I am really honored. I've never felt so honored to talk about a celebrity in my life, and I think big things are in store for her and her fan base, which is continuously expanding. I've noticed that my Freya Sky videos are exploding on YouTube. Thank you guys so much for that, because the more support and the love that we can show and get out there for Freya Sky and really put on display, I think is really going to secure her future. And I, for one, am incredibly intrigued by everything she's going to offer, because the beautiful thing about Victor and Nova's story is it's just getting started, and we don't really know a whole lot about these characters. So as time goes on, we're going to know more about their personalities, which is why I really respect how they're talking about, wanting plain cheeseburgers at McDonald's, and her passion for the recorder, and her passion for board games and video games, because I saw a lot of myself in Freya Sky in these PR interviews for Zombies, because we didn't really know a whole lot about her. So I, gained a greater appreciation for her doing this with an open heart and an open mind, because a lot of people wouldn't do it with an open heart and an open mind and be there for the fans. So I really appreciate these celebrities that keep fans in what I like to refer to as an informative loop, because never enough of this happens. I really wish that Dove Cameron and Sophia Carson would do more of this for fans, because I think that, PR for Descendants and Zombies is absolutely fabulous, and I'm looking forward to seeing PR in the future, because we're going to see, I really do think we're going to see more people than ever before be drawn to Descendants and Zombies, because if there ever was a time to be a fan of Descendants and Zombies, that time is now. It's pretty evident that we have more fans of Descendants and Zombies than ever before, and it's gaining momentum as we edge ever closer to Descendants 5 with Wonderland. Of course, people are already making predictions of what's going to be inside of that vortex for Zombies 5, and I know Zombies 5 feels like forever away, but I give you my word, people are wondering, what do we do, where do we go from here with Zombies 5 not happening for at least another 5 years? Well, the answer to that question is I'm going to upload Descendants and Zombies videos if I have to, every day for the rest of my life. This is my second podcast ever since midnight last night, and I've been uploading videos ever since, because I want to keep the momentum going as we edge ever closer to Zombies 5, and of course Descendants 5 with Wonderland coming out next year. We've got a year to go, but I promise you guys, every day for the next year I will have something uploaded on this YouTube channel, because I believe, for one, that you guys have deserved way better commentaries about Descendants and Zombies than what you've been seeing, and I just wanted to be that guy to give it to. I wanted to honor the legacies of this franchise, which have taken years to build up. So I really believe that the credibility of these stars needs to remain intact. And I don't think you're seeing that from reaction videos, because it's like they watch the music video, but they really understand the power of the music video, like Rewrite the Stars or Go My Own Way or Legends in the Making. The significance of the song Legends in the Making were that characters such as Zed and Addison had legacies that they were going to leave behind, that were meant to be carved and left behind, because really, at the end of all of our lives, that's what we leave behind, our memories and a legacy. And that's all I've ever wanted, is to go down in history for being one of the greatest of all time. So I saw myself in that song, and I'm sure many of you saw yourself in your dreams becoming a reality more than ever before. So I think that Descendants and Zombies has really offered us encouragement and incentive to go on with our own lives and pursue our dreams, which is what I give the writers and producers a profound amount of credit for. And I will say more about this later on today on a third show that I will upload. I'm so excited about the future of Descendants and Zombies, because I just don't want to shut down the hopes and the dreams of anybody who's ever been a fan of Descendants and Zombies. And if you would love to be a part of this journey that you girls have had me on for forever, if you're new here, please subscribe, please hit the like button. I would love for you to be a part of this incredible journey, because this has been a summer that I will never ever forget. I have forever and always believed that this is the greatest honor of my life, being able to commentate on Descendants and Zombies, because the reality of it is, nobody can commentate on Descendants and Zombies like this guy. And nobody can be a part of a journey as incredible as this, only you guys, because you are the most loyal fans to a franchise. I mean, I've seen some crazy niches over the years, but this niche is truly mind-blowing. How supportive you guys are, how you have a never-say-die attitude for Descendants and Zombies. It's really amazing to me. And I'm mind-blown every single time that I see everybody supporting Descendants and Zombies the way that you guys have. So keep Descendants and Zombies in your hearts, because we still have a long way to go and so much more of a story yet to be told, and one that I'm incredibly excited about. Guys, if you have not subscribed or liked this video, make sure you do it. I will be back later on this afternoon with a third podcast for you guys at some point, so keep watching for that, because I have a lot to say about conversation about Descendants and Zombies, because this story is far from over. Guys, stay calm and zombie on, because that's the only way to be in this life.